Bonjour, Shanawiya. Yeah, so welcome. We're going to be talking today about our program, and like Caitlin said, how we're integrating gardening into the program and giving out some resources. And we also have some stuff to give away at the very end as well. So yeah, we'll just get into it.
Bonjour, Miigwan Indigenous Makwendu Dame Ashkipakisibing in Dunchipa. I am a family friend and neighbor coordinator at Gookonaaning Endaawaad. My name is Miigwan. I'm Bear Clan and I'm from St. Paul.
Bonjour, Gabrielle Tishnaka Jagna Shimonk, Makwad Ganin Totem Gamasquabakang and Donjiba. My name's Gabby. I'm from Redcliffe, and oh yeah, I work at Gookonaaning Endaawaad. That's the name of our program. And at the program, my title is Nest Facilitator. So I'm working with the kids in the program every day and planning activities and stuff like that for families and doing it in the language. Before we start too, I just want to say miigwach to Gitigaan, miigwach to Caitlin and Isabel. They've been huge partners for our program and making gardening something that we can do every day at the house with our kids. So I want to say miigwach to them. And then I also want to say miigwach to our parents, two parents in particular, Erica and Bekwajinini. Alex Kmet, have been huge proponents for gardening and have really been on the grounds, like advocating for gardening, having kids in the language and all of that. So just miigwach to them for everything that they've taught us and continue to teach us every day.
All right, so first we're going to kind of introduce our program and language nests in general. And then we're going to talk about why we're doing this, why we would include food and gardening with the language. And then we'll talk about the meals and food that we interact with at GE. And finally, we'll be showing some of our language kits.
Yeah. So I can I'll do the intro to our program. So this is our house. So like Caitlin was saying, we're located on 111 Breverter Road. And so our program is, so the overall program is Ojibwemotaadidaa, Omaa, Gidakiiminaang, which is a extension program of Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College. And it's actually an adult program. So our program focuses on bringing first language speakers and adult language learners together. And what kind of happened was that our adult students started having kids. Who would have thought? And they wanted to give the kids an opportunity to have that same immersion experience and grow up in the language. So that's kind of the background of our program and how we got started. And now we're together kind of as a larger language community working on raising these kids in the language, and integrating food has been a huge part of our programming, and gardening as well, and teaching the kids and providing educational experiences, but also allowing them to explore food and food sovereignty and their identity. So, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about language nests and the people involved with them. So obviously one of the biggest proponents are families. Families really make our program. They bring in our kids and continue the education at home, and come to our program as well. And then we also have a lot of support from elders from various communities. And this really helps build an intergenerational education model. And we get all age groups interacting and learning and practicing together. And then our staff and interns as well get to see the program and participate and also practice our language skills.
Yeah, so in the next part, we're just gonna, in the nest part, we're going to be talking about how we decided to kind of really incorporate food and gardening as a main core of our program and curriculum. So yeah, this is kind of, to start off, like, this is our base value, I guess. And so ji-gikendamowaad, ezhi-gikinoo'amaageyaang. So the way that translates is every day to show who we are as Anishinaabe, speaking Ojibwe, to live our lives in the language. So that's really like the core of the program. And one of our mission statement values is to like live in the language, and how can you do that without food, right? So that's really the basis of it. Yeah, and so then I guess like along with that, I'm going to be talking about this, like why do we live in the language? What can we do by gardening with the kids in the language? And a big part of that is because both food sovereignty and gardening, working with food and speaking the language, both have really helped us provide an educational experience, yeah, but it also provides an opportunity for kids to explore their identity as Anishinaabe. So having them out in the garden every day and working with food and doing it in the language has been a really amazing experience, and I think a really healing experience, both for our staff, but also like our adults, our parents in the program, and everything like that. It brings us all together around this common thing that we really like thinking back, like our communities have been doing forever. So just like bringing that all together, and I really think it does like promote healing. Gardening, working with plants and foods, like really does promote healing in you, and so does speaking the language. So those are kind of why we decided to do both of them together.
So like I said before, intergenerational knowledge is a huge part of our program. This is an elder we work with a lot, Ogimaagwanabik, Nancy Jones, and she brings a lot of her own knowledge to our program when she comes, and gets to explore that with us and the kids, and it's just really important for little ones to be in touch with elders and their families, and for us as staff to learn from elders and first language speakers specifically. So these are a few pictures of the gardening activities that we do. We do planting, and the kids get to participate in each part of the planting, growing, and harvesting and processing experience.
And this is the High Tunnel Ladder site. So we really have been really fortunate to have such an amazing space and amazing partners to be able to have the space and do this with our kids. So again, Miigwan. And it is like, I mean, looking at gardening with kids, like they really have an amazing opportunity, right, to experience it all from when you're first seed starting to processing the food, seed saving, and then seeing the food on the table. Like having that complete experience for them is just amazing, and has brought a lot of joy to the kids in our program, as you could see in the photos.
Right, I'm going to talk a little bit about recipes and mealtime, and the ways in which we emphasize food at meal times and snack times. So one of the most important parts is obviously incorporating indigenous foods into the day. We especially incorporate wild rice, and we'll make a lot of vegetable soups, and we also really emphasize nutritious foods in general, and it provides families and staff and access to whole foods 3 times a day, which is very important for people who are growing and people who are living in general. And we also emphasize eating what's from our garden. It really shows the full circle of gardening and what we're looking to achieve through it. And then the fourth and probably my favorite thing is we do a lot of cooking activities with the kids. Whether it be making bread, we just get to have a lot of fun with it and make things that end up being treats. So
Yeah, so these are some photos. We tried to put smiley faces over their faces. It's whatever. We got permission for all of them anyways, but so that's why they look a little weird. But so these are our kids eating, and you can see that amazing picture with one of our elders. And it's because all of our main meals are all wild rice based, and I think that's been like a huge core part of our meals. And it's also been super amazing because it helps like establish for the kids like that, like wild rice is their food and this is their place where they can speak the language together and everything. So that's kind of like the base of all of our dishes, and they just absolutely love it. You can go. And this is like, yeah, so this is again just like a sample meal schedule. So you can kind of see we have snacks. Our snacks still need to get I need help with snacks still. So you all are gardeners. Let me know if you have any good snack ideas and stuff like that. For the meals, like Miigwan was saying, we focus on a soup. So we have a soup once a week, and that has just been amazing. And it's kind of cool too, seeing kids that might not like have as much access to kind of indigenous foods and healthy foods, because you kind of see like at first they might be a little bit more hesitant, but then they slowly like all of a sudden it's like they want 2 bowls of it. And then it's like their favorite part about coming to the programming is like their lunchtime together. So that's been pretty cool to see. And then we kind of rotated out. It's just like wild rice and then a seasonal veggie. So it can be like squash, and you can dice up the squash or you could mash it depending on what age you're feeding and everything like that. But yeah. So that's what we do. Oh, I also wanted to mention one of our parents too was pointing out earlier, they were like, when just like talking about pregnancy and stuff like that too, I think it's really important that we're providing healthy food to people that, our families are having more babies too. So if some of our moms are pregnant in our program or have been pregnant at programming, so making sure we're providing healthy food for them as well. And they were pointing out like, man, now my kid like eats all the food that I ate when I was pregnant. So I think that's another just like, I don't know, cool thing, important thing I feel like about focusing on indigenous foods and child programming.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about our Ziguan kit, our spring kit. There's a lot of pieces that we send home with families, including flashcards and books and vocab lists and keychains and toys that all really help with continuing to bring the knowledge back home and having physical materials. So we have 3 sort of vocabulary pieces. And the vocabulary pieces are mostly for adults, and so providing parents and staff with the language to do very specific gardening activities that you might not know how to say on your own. And so we have flashcards and keychains that are waterproof, and they're very easy to just use on the spot. And the lists and flashcards help to practice and reinforce that knowledge. Then we have books, recommended books in the language that introduce different spring and gardening ideas. And then as well as toys. And we also have spring and gardening audio passages and videos. So here's a link to our Miigwan kit. You can scan the QR code or take a picture of it, whatever you need. We will also be passing out some of the pieces that we have for you all. Oh, you go back. Yeah.
Speed run through it.
Did everyone get what they needed? Oh. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Yes. Mhm. Yeah. I think that would be a better question for Gabby. Um, sorry. Thank you. So the question was, can anyone come and visit the garden?
Yeah, so we have, because we're a childhood program, our visitor situation is a little bit odd. We have to have like background check and fingerprints for people that want to come and like visit and interact with the kids. If you want to come visit the garden, when we don't have kids on site, so we have programming 3 days a week. So you could come any of those other days, basically. But for visiting, I think it would be fine. We have our partners at Gitigaan that are out there watering on the other days when we're not on site. So yeah, if you would like to visit the garden and see our space, we're definitely open to that. It would just be contacting our email to kind of schedule it, basically. Yeah, so that's kind of, yeah, the info.
Are there any other questions? Yeah. So the question is, what is the process like compiling the vocabulary and working with elders to get it? We try to do weekly Zoom calls with elders and ask for language that we don't know. And we We'll gather it on a specific topic, and we gather the language as it comes up, as well as asking specific questions for specific words that we're wondering about.
Yeah, so like a lot of times it's like taking videos, right? Especially with kids, because they're always finding like new things and you're like, I have no idea how to describe that, right? So like a big process of it is like taking video of them in the moment and then showing it to our elders before we don't have them there. Since we're starting back up more in person with elders, we've been pretty fortunate to have them kind of in person for more time with the kids. So that's been really good. But yeah, I would say taking videos in key moments and then bringing them back. And then our staff works a way to kind of process the language and put them in the keychain cards. Because there are, like what I hand out, those are keychain cards that you can find online that are a free resource. So it has like the words, and then it also has the QR code in the back is for SoundCloud. And so like that's one of our other resources as well, where you can listen to, it's a passage that's about springtime. So you can kind of hear the language and hear one of our elders talking about the birds coming back, and I don't know, she has a bunch of other passages on there. So yeah, that's the process.
Anyone else? Oh,
Yeah. Caitlin has been a huge help with that in the past. But also, if you could kind of see in one of the earlier slides, we had a photo of the kids in the garden, and they were helping process the corn. So like that's a big part of our fall time activities is going through and picking. We have like the pole beans, so it's picking the pole beans and then processing the corn. And then also something we didn't mention is the squash has been a huge food source for our program. So like our weekly soup has been the gaye squash. And that's been like, so that's like our main food source kind of, because it's the main ingredient in the vegetable soup. So really low preservation, but we're trying to focus on foods that, yeah, we have like a long preservation life at least, because it just makes more sense with a early childhood program and stuff like that. It's easier for us to do foods that have a long shelf life, I guess. But yeah. Yeah, the question was, do we have any of the gaye squash left? We have dehydrated squash. So it's really cool too, because then the kids like they open it up. Well, when we have the physical squash, it's amazing because right, they open it up and they're like, whoa, like look at all this stuff inside of it. But then also like then later when you have it dehydrated and you like open up the can, they're like, how is this the same thing? But then you put it in the soup and it rehydrates. This is so cool. So yeah.
is that everything? All right, we'll put up some of our contact information.
Yeah.
Miigwech, everyone, and Miigwech, Miigwan, and Gabby. And then I wanted to add to, it has been a really great partnership working with Ojibwemotaadidaa and utilizing the high tunnel that's been out there in that garden. And we've been able to save the seeds that we've been growing out there, like the beans, some different flowers, asema, what did I say? Yeah, the Miami squash, the Bear Island flint corn. And so we've been growing out the corn in the seed garden by grandma's house, and then growing some food corn out at Gidakiiminaang, where there's lots of different corns being grown, and we'll kind of trade. And so we processed a lot of the corn and then just gave it back to Oog. So it's been really cool partnership. And then we'll see those seeds and the plant and seed giveaway this year as kind of a separate bundle. So we'll have our main giveaway seeds and then also a bundle of some of the seeds that we've been keeping in partnership with Ojibwemotaadidaa. So that's another big, I guess, product of this partnership, and a way that you all can be a part of it too is we have those seeds at Miigwan, the commercial kitchen cannery at the farm, and then we'll have them in the giveaway as well. So yeah, thanks you two for that, and sea beans and edacoons and other ones that came before that helped make this happen the last few years. So yeah. So miigwech everybody, and feel free to hang out and we can chat more casually. Thanks to the online audience again, and hopefully the audio and visuals were better, and I appreciate it. So miigwech everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said before, we have other resources and we also have some swag items. We specifically have some children t-shirts because I'm really excited to see kids in the audience. So if you want to get a t-shirt and some, I don't know, pens or whatever, feel free to come up. Yeah, miigwech.